Hello, my name is Cord Stanley, and I will be reporting about the Wendy's roasting social media campaign that began January 2nd, 2017. What makes Wendy's social media campaign so interesting is its unlikely origin. There is nothing to suggest it was a planned event. They tried to be patient with the belligerent Twitter follower, Thuggy D, but progressively got snappier with him. Of course, any social media presence always wants to bring awareness, drive engagement, and ultimately increase sales, but in this case, it was on accident. Thus, their roasting movement was born, and they increased their Twitter following by 35%, or about 350,000 followers, in less than a month from their initial post on January 2nd, 2017, and they haven't looked back since. Here's just a few example tweets. Just so that we have a frame of reference about the scope of their humor and attitude Wendy's provides. Here you can see the famous Nuggets for Carter, or hashtag Nugs for Carter, amongst several others. A common trend is that Wendy's will take the offense against other businesses, but only take individuals after they've requested to be roasted. And I think this is an intelligent method. They're not offending customers. And honestly, who cares if they offend their competitors, right? Most of their customers just find it humorous. But I'd like to get into some of their campaign setbacks. They have a tendency to set off firestorms if they post the wrong thing. I hinted at Wendy's success with how many Twitter followers they gained in 1 month. But before I continue with their many successes, I wanted to mention some of their setbacks and cautionary tales. With one in particular. There is a saying, those who live by the sword, die by the sword. Wendy's Twitter campaign is no different. Their constant roasting of people and other businesses leaves the opportunity for error and social media backlash. If they say something that is truly offensive, then they run the risk of profound backlash. Wendy's posted an adaptation of Pepe the Frog. However, they did not realize that at the time, the Anti-Defamation League had recently labeled Pepe the Frog as a hate symbol. One can argue whether Pepe is actually offensive or if the Anti-Defamation League got carried away, but the backlash was real all the same. To Wendy's misfortune, the backlash actually came from both sides. Those who demanded Wendy's take it down, then once they did, people berated them for caving to social justice warriors. Now into their key metrics and some other information. Despite their setbacks, Wendy's has seen strong success. Their Facebook page has largely remained the same, and this isn't surprising since Wendy's has not utilized it the same way they have their Twitter account. But at no cost, and by an apparent accident, Wendy's stumbled onto a social media strategy that has tripled their Twitter following in less than 2 years. They have also set multiple social media records, including the most retweeted comments of all time, the famous Nugs for Carter post. They have also inspired dozens of YouTube videos related to their roasting campaign, providing millions upon millions of views. Their Facebook is used with a more traditional sense. They post content and new products and promotions. They also use it as a customer service portal and strive to comment on every single person's post on their page. The roasting campaign had little effect on its numbers over the last 2 years, plateauing around 8.5 million likes. Their Twitter is what has become really special. They added 2 million followers in the last 2 years, and their tweets have seen millions of retweets. When a gentleman named Carter asked for how many retweets it would take to get free nuggets for life, Wendy's responded with 18 million. Now, Carter didn't quite get that far at 3.433 million retweets, but it set the record, beating Ellen DeGeneres, who received 3.43 million retweets for her Oscar selfies. What makes this even more special is Wendy's only had about 1 million followers compared to Ellen DeGeneres' 60+ million, estimated based on her current 77.6 million followers. Even though Carter fell short, Wendy's was impressed and gave him free nuggets for a year. And finally, because people find these roasts so humorous, there are entire YouTube channels dedicated to compiling and reacting to them. They've received dozens of millions of views across YouTube, and there's no sign that they're going to slow down. But what does all this mean? Fortunately, they've had positive results with their sales. Wendy's had been bleeding revenue and growth for several years. In fact, from March 2010 to their peak low in March 2017, they saw a reduction in revenue of over $551 million year over year. They also had negative year-over-year growth for 16 consecutive quarters. The graph presented is a more narrow snapshot of the same graph this information was pulled from. Specifically, this graph represents December 31st, 2016 to December 31st, 2018. The green vertical line represents the approximate time frame that the roasting campaign was introduced. And it took about 9 months for their campaigns to reverse the year-over-year revenue and growth loss, but it worked. Wendy's, after 10 years of falling revenue and 16 quarters of negative growth, they're finally accelerating again. So Wendy's is one of the most unique case studies on social media. They have found a niche that most corporations were unwilling to pursue. In today's offended by anything mentality, Wendy's has taken a very bold strategy. They must be very careful they are not using memes or phrases with ulterior meanings or connotations lest they reap the repercussions. Simply offering an apology and deleting the content can still continue to compound the problem. It is hard to compare Wendy's pre-campaign goals with the campaign's outcomes because it all happened unintentionally. Someone responsible for their Twitter account responded with sarcasm to a smack talker, and the internet loved it. Wendy's has rolled with it ever since, and their Twitter followers have tripled. YouTube has videos with millions of views promoting their content, and ultimately, their revenue and growth is up. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you have a wonderful day.